50 ways to live your time. Number 6. You can't switch your back with your front. By Kosen Handa. Since we have only talked about the forward direction, let's talk about the backward direction. Needless to say, you cannot see your backward direction. In visual reality, backward never exists. In this sense, in 2013, The Day God Sees God Advanced Edition, I wrote backward as imaginary and forward is real. I use these expressions to correspond to the terms the real and the imaginary by French psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan. If seeing is light and we call the light forward, then backward can be another name for invisibility, which is also the word of darkness. If we accept Lacan's mirror image stage theory, human beings can only exist by relying on this darkness. According to this theory, the ego is essentially a being that is exposed to the gaze of others, from which it emerges as a passive entity from the beginning. We can never see our own faces directly, but only imaginatively through the mirror of others' vision. Therefore, our faces are the reflection in the eyes of others. This means that the existence of others always mediates our self-image. Only by identifying with this imaginary self-image of ourselves can we come to understand ourselves as persons with faces. Now, let's look in the mirror. If you look closely, what you see in the mirror is not so much as your face, but accurately your backward direction. In other words, the face you see is the representation of the world behind you. It is the moment when an innocent primordial subject, which was once forward direction or once perceptual front, superimposes the face reflected in the gaze of the other on itself. In other words, the subject identifies itself with the face. Once forward direction turns into the backward direction. Here, the perceptual front is inverted by the perceptual back at once, and then the image of one's face as the king of the backward direction appears with everything in the back in tow. In this sense, this facial image is a mask, i.e. persona, attached to a subject who was initially a loner. That is, I who feels that I am the only one in the world. The mask gives the subject a sense of self-identity as an individual. That is, I who thinks that there are many people in the world and that I am one of them. Therefore, the face can also be regarded as the perceptual back. The face is then given a proper name, in my case, Kosen Handa, and registered as a social being. Once again, it is necessary to confirm that the front direction that such a persona sees is no longer the forward direction that they once had in their childhood when they had not acquired language. As Sigmund Freud states, childhood, as such, is gone. When you call yourself I, you are identifying with yourself that others see. This is the I that is grasped as the other by the other. In other words, the self regarded as I becomes the other's the other, once the I identifies itself with its face or mask as a persona. Then, the direction in which such I looks forward is no longer the forward direction of the self, but merely the backward direction of the other. When we think of a situation where I as the self and the other are facing each other, we simply consider their physical arrangement. From that perspective, it is evident that the self's forward direction is the other's backward direction. However, given the perceptual reality that the visible world is always in the forward direction of I, that self-evident direction called forward is no longer there in reality. This fact is clearly understood in our common expression looking forward, where the notion of forward is objectified, like a space expanding in front of us, although it should be the subject itself. Thus, in the context of Noosology, it becomes clear that the process of the positional equalization, in which the forward is intuitively perceived as oneself, is almost identical to the goal of psychoanalysis. As Freud-Lacan put it, we should let the ego I be where S is. The subject of the unconscious is the forward, latent within the phenomenon itself, or, more specifically, it is the light itself, as traditional spiritualism put it. In the context of Noosology, we can call such light the awakened light. In the context of physics, from Noosology's viewpoint, it no longer corresponds to light, but to what we call electrons. What is an electron? It is the extraction of light. In conclusion, the space we perceive in front of us is either an imaginary space we unconsciously rotate from our back to the front, or the backward direction of others. Therefore, there is no actual forward direction there. Additionally, our collective notion of such an imaginary space by our backward direction generates our space-time. As a result, we can consider our space-time to be the world in a mirror. Our lost forward direction has contracted into a tiny, infinitesimal point at the center of space-time's vast, profound, bottomless expanse. In the view of Noosology, this is the gateway to what physicists refer to as inner space. Those who rediscover this space are the new people, the transformers. They are, in a sense, a group of rising angels who are creating a new generative ground for the future of thought. Oh, Narcissus, why do you always gaze into the water? I can understand the beauty of the boy's reflection there, but have you ever thought about the girl who has fallen in love with you? I know the girl has become the norm for you, and you have taken her for granted. Indeed, she may not even be in your sight anymore. Besides, all she talks about is just your refrain. But if you say just one word to her, I love you, she will surely respond to your love. You believe that sharing your love with your mate is the best thing you can do, but that is nothing but your self-love. So listen, Narcissus. First of all, to everything in front of you, you need to shout, "I love you." Then your cry will echo back to you from the whole world. And then, into your vacant eyes, the light on the water will come through for the first time.